We have been using this wood-fired water heater at my family's remote off-grid ranch cabin. After 20 years of using it, I'll give you the good, the bad, and the ugly, and I'll tell you some of the things they forget to mention in the brochures about wood-fired water heaters. When I say it's remote, I don't mean just regular remote. I mean the kind of remote that's really remote. This place is far away from any power or gas service. It doesn't even have cell service. But one thing we do have is free hot water. Long before we had this, when my grandfather built this place, he set it up for propane. When one of these bottles would run out, it would have to be hauled back into town, swapped out for a new one, then hauled back out here. They're heavy, they're kind of a pain to haul and move around. He was okay with doing it. It helped keep Grandma more happy when she was here, gave her some of the comforts of home. Nobody actually lived here. It was just a place to stay when they came out here to the ranch. It ran a standard gas water heater that supplied on-demand hot water. Eventually, my grandparents started getting old, which seems to be a thing with grandparents. They started coming out here less. My dad started coming out here more. Hauling propane bottles around just didn't fit well into his program. Since there is no abundance of propane out here, and there is an abundance of wood, he started thinking maybe it would make more sense to heat water with wood. Over 20 years ago, he found someone who was selling these. This one was cheap because it was defective. It had a bad paint job. The paint was peeling off, which has not improved over the decades. We haven't got to the good and the bad yet, but this brings us straight to the ugly. The bad paint job makes this thing kind of ugly, but it's fully functional. Put a few sticks in here and your favorite fire starter. We use our secret super turbo fire starter. Light it and off you go. We've already covered the ugly. Now let's get into the good. I think one of the best things about a wood-fired water heater is self-sufficiency. You don't have to depend on the grid. You don't have to pay bills. Nobody has to travel into town to fill heavy propane bottles. If the grid goes down, if the world crumbles around us, we can still operate as normal. Much of the time it's been fueled by these little pieces that come off the wood splitter. All it takes is a few of these pieces to get the water hot. They just show up around the wood splitter without having to do any extra work. I have the hiccups. Why do I have the hiccups? I haven't had the hiccups in a long time. I don't even remember the last time I had the hiccups. But I have them. And you can just use sticks that are laying on the ground. I think that is the main advantage of a wood-fired water heater. We can use fuel that we have just laying around free for the taking. And if someone values being less dependent on fossil fuels, using fewer of those, this accomplishes that. As it burns down, we typically have to put a few more sticks in before the water gets up to temperature. After about 10 minutes, we made it up to 70 degrees, which would probably be a more relevant number if I would have thought to look at the temperature we started at. I gave you the good, now for the bad. The bad is, it's inconvenient. It does not provide 24-hour hot water on demand. If you want hot water, you have to plan ahead of time, build a fire, wait for the water to heat up. This is not the kind of setup most people would want at a full-time residence, but it's functional here because most of the time, nobody's here. It's the kind of thing that people are willing to tolerate once in a while when they come out to the ranch. Most of the family who does come here wishes they didn't have to mess with the inconvenience of building a fire every time they want hot water. But they also wouldn't be the ones who would have to mess with the inconvenience of hauling propane all the way out here. If we ever got back to using propane again out here, it would probably come down to me having to be the one who would take care of all of that. I think it all comes down to what would be a bigger hassle in your area, dealing with propane or dealing with building a fire. If you're in an area where it's economical just to have the propane truck come out and deliver it, that might be an easy decision. One more batch of sticks should get us up to temperature. This is not really lit right now, it's not actually heating. I got the video footage of lighting this later this evening, closer to the time when I wanted to use the hot water. I just edited it to make it look like I'm doing it now. But don't tell anybody. This can be our little secret. Not in a creepy kind of way though. We're just over 115 degrees. When it gets to be 120 degrees, there's plenty of hot water to do the dishes and for 2 people to have sufficiently functional hot showers and maybe have some left over. Something like this could be modified so when the fire is burning, the water could circulate into a larger insulated water tank so you have a large reservoir of hot water that's always on demand. Something could be done with this, but nobody's out here enough for anybody to be motivated enough to do anything with this. You might notice we have a little problem with water seeping out of this thing. It's hooked up to the pressurized water system much of the time, even when nobody's using it. Most of the time, it doesn't leak. For the last few years, when family comes out here and uses it a lot, which happened for the last few days until yesterday, it leaks after it gets a lot of use being heated. Then after it sits for a few days, still under pressure but not being heated, the leak eventually goes away. I have a running hypothesis about this. It might be a goofy one, but here's how it goes. It may have a small hole in it, but this water has a lot of sediment in it because it comes out of the creek. It could be when it's not being used, that sediment settles into the bottom, plugs up that little hole. Then when we start using it a lot, the heating and the contracting might open that up, or maybe the circulating of the water from using it stirs that up, opens the hole back up again. Then when we stop using it, it settles back in there and plugs up the hole. Someone else suggested it could be condensation from the heating and the cold creek water coming in. I'm not sure how that would work though. And it continues to leak for several days after they leave and stop using it. But that idea might not be any more goofy than my idea. Why don't we fix this? Same reason we don't do a lot of things here. Like I said earlier, this house isn't used much anymore. And there are some complications with this place that need to be straightened out first. That's another story for another time. And it's only dripping on the sidewalk where it's not going to do any damage. Looks like I got a little carried away putting sticks in. We're up to 130 now. We have all kinds of hot water now. Ow, that's hot. I'm sure I'm going to get some questions about this like, how many gallons is it? Where can I get one of these? How many BTU is it? There are going to be a lot of questions and I'm going to have an easy answer for most of them, which is, I don't know. It has this label on it, but can't really read much on it anymore. After everything I just told you, you know just about as much about it as I do. Except one more thing. I almost forgot. This is how you clean out the ashes, which are now full of water because of this leak, which should go away in a few days after we go away and stop using it for a while. I can't tell you much more about this, but what I can tell you is how my grandpa set this place up to have as much free pressurized running water as we can use without electricity. You can see that on this video I will put somewhere up here.